Okay, so this is the most technical thing we know of out here, right, Tyler?
Yeah.
The most technical thing we can get on in January.
Well, actual trail, I mean, you could make something.
Yeah. So we're gonna test this thing out. There's a few sections, I've only done this trail once before. There's a few sections up here that are really quite technical. And it might be even more challenging in the snow.
The question that we had in our mind was this bike going to be as easy to go in the technical stuff with the EFI? Because it did seem like it had a little bit less torque down low, so we were wondering how the throttle response was going to be and what the power was going to be down low, and if it was going to be a hindrance on the technical stuff. And what I found was certainly no, that wasn't the case. I felt like the bike did very, very well in this technical stuff, and it wasn't prone to stalling, and I thought it did a phenomenal job. Now, I've ridden the KTM version of this bike now a little bit, quite a little bit, and I think the KTM, the way I've got it set up with the FMF Gnarly pipe, I think it's got a little bit more low end than this Husky. This Husky, because Husqvarna had set this up with a FMF factory pipe and a Power Core 2 silencer, so it was more of a motocross setup, and it didn't seem to have quite as much low end on this bike as the KTM does. But this bike did really, really well, despite having kind of the motocross pipes that are geared more for the mid-range and top end. But I felt like this trail, and again, this trail is a lot steeper and rockier and more technical than it appears on the GoPro. But I felt like this bike is extremely capable in the technical stuff. That's the beauty of these two-strokes, is they'll just sort of lug and gut it out even when you get really down low on the RPMs. That's what makes them easier to ride than the four-strokes and stuff like this, is because they just don't die, and this bike is no exception. Very, very good. The more that I've ridden this one and the KTM, the 250 XCW TPI, I think these EFI bikes are phenomenal. Just got back from a ride. This ride was shot a few weeks ago, but we just got back from a ride where we rode this bike and the KTM two-stroke EFI back to back, and we've got some really interesting thoughts. I've got thoughts from me and 3 other riders that I'll share with you over the next month or so as we talk about the nuances between the two EFI bikes, and then also how they compare to my carbureted 250XC. And I think you're going to be really interested, because we were all really shocked at some of the things that we learned, some of the things that surprised us, because everyone, me, Scott, Sam, Tyler, even Colby, who was with us, we were all very surprised at one aspect or another of these bikes. And so look for more of that coming to you in the future.
Sweet. So on that really technical, steep, rocky trail, I'm sure it looks like nothing on the GoPro, but it's steep and it's technical, and there are some really big rocks and obstacles on that thing. And this had plenty of power to gut it up that. I mean, does it have as much low-end torque as that 300XC that Tyler is riding up in front of me? No, it doesn't. But as long as you are covering the clutch and paying attention, there's more than enough power here to do the technical stuff. And the fact that the bike runs so bloody clean right down by, you know, off idle, I don't know, man. It was pretty dang good. Now, one thing that only time will tell if it's as forgiving as a carbureted bike is sometimes in the technical stuff, because one of the things, like on the 4-strokes, the 4-stroke EFI bikes are so crisp, they're like on-off switches down there on the low end, and that makes those sometimes a little bit harder to ride in the really technical stuff. I don't think this one feels as on-off switch as some of those bikes, some of those 4-strokes that I've had in the past, but only time will tell, you know, to ride more and more and more of the technical stuff. But just from a riding perspective, this thing feels really light. You all right?
Yeah,
This rock you hit that rock.
I hit that freaking rock.
That rock, and you moved it like 2 feet, and that just sent you sailing. Did you hurt anything?
No, I'm good. I
You-
was cruising down, all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's slick too. You probably could have recovered if it wasn't snowy. You never know.
Right out of the
But yeah, this is January riding, guys. I've never ridden up here this far north in Utah in January. We're just having a terrible snow year.